There's something else I want to talk to you about today. Something that's so wrong, it obscures everything else that is right. And that's family violence. I should let you know that what I'm about to say may be distressing for some. Family violence is a national emergency. Family violence ruins lives. Family violence kills. All of you in this room know someone, you know a victim and you may know them well, but you might not know who. I'm heartened, of course, by the many campaigns that have brought awareness to it. But these campaigns have told us something else as well. Awareness means little if the system is broken, and our system is. Thousands of dedicated workers and volunteers, dozens of important services, they work hard to make things better, but the system is still broken. It doesn't protect the vulnerable and it doesn't punish the guilty. It's failing. We won't fix it until we admit it. Now, I may be criticised for saying that, and I don't care. I simply don't. We expect victims to make a deeply personal and terrifying leap, to come forward to seek protection. But we're not doing our bit. We're not there to catch them when they make that leap. Instead, those seeking help and assistance fall into endless waiting lists, a support network that's underfunded, a police force that's under pressure, and intervention orders that often mean nothing. It's a betrayal. That's the reason why we always witness these tragedies hours too late on our evening news, played before us and an audience of millions. News stories filled with old photographs and the thoughtful words of loved ones. The short films of our greatest failure. So many families have met tragedy. We must remember them. And we must remember too those in newer relationships who might be slowly losing their freedom, slowly losing themselves. Too many are later described as the victims of unexpected, isolated incidents. Well, there's nothing unexpected or isolated about it. This is a vicious pattern. Think about some of these words from survivors. We weren't allowed to cry inside the house. I couldn't leave. He'd taken my keys. Gradually, he made me believe that I had no friends. He thought it was what husbands were allowed to do. These words tell us that family violence can come in any form. It can creep into any home. It can happen to anyone. I'll never forget how I felt on that routine weekday evening when I heard what had happened on a suburban cricket ground to an ordinary boy who loved his mum and loved his dad. When I got home that night, all I wanted to do was wake up my kids and hold them close. Nothing is more honest than the loyalty of a child, and nothing hurts more than its betrayal. 15 children known to DHS, 15 vulnerable children, died this year, and family violence was a factor in 12 of those tragedies. It's unthinkable. When family violence is committed against women and their children, it diminishes us all because it is our problem and it is a crime. It's 40% of police work. It's the leading contributor to death and disability in Australian women under 45. One woman is murdered by her current or former partner each and every week. 1 in 4 children witness violence against a parent, and that's a form of violence in itself. We have to admit that if women and their children were being systematically tormented by total strangers, we would be quick to act. We would do more. Instead, tonight, women and their children will huddle in sparse hotel rooms and refuges, briefly away from the violence, but never further away from a loving and caring home. Tonight, sons and daughters will lock themselves in their rooms, their perception of the most formative adult relationship in their young lives, forever scarred, forever changed. Tonight, Victoria Police will respond to around 100 incidents of violence and abuse, doing the best they can without the resources they need. Next week, intervention orders will be made and intervention orders will be breached. Men will be referred to behaviour change programs. In reality, they'll be referred to waiting lists, lists that are longer than is safe, longer than is acceptable. Tomorrow, many victims will be too scared to call out for help. Others will be too ashamed. Some will take the leap, but all will be, one way or another, let down by a system that simply cannot cope and cannot protect. For some, there may be no tomorrow. And what are the politicians doing? Well, we're posing for photographs and we're wearing a ribbon, but we're not asking the really hard questions. Some people think the chief duty of a government is to maintain law and order. Well, the biggest law and order issue in our state is unfolding inside our homes. When we see it on the TV, we don't know what to say. The truth is, we don't know what to do either. We don't have all the answers. Friends, I cannot promise to keep every woman and her children safe. I cannot promise to make sure every family is free of violence. But I'm prepared to try. It's time. It is time to change it all. That's why today I announce that a Victorian Labor Government will establish Australia's first Royal Commission into family violence. And nothing will be off limits. The Family Violence Royal Commission will examine our system from the ground up. It will investigate criminal law, corrections and the courts. It will look at support services, the health system, alcohol and drug treatment. It will look at refuges, housing and education. And of course, it will look at the resources and the tools that are available to our dedicated Victoria Police. A panel of survivors and support providers will advise and assist the Royal Commission. It will begin its work early next year, reporting to Parliament and to all Victorians by the end of 2015. And a Victorian Labor Government will implement its recommendations. The Commission will take time, but there are some things that simply cannot wait. That's why I intend to make more announcements on this critical issue. That's why back in December I appointed a dedicated standalone shadow minister for the prevention of family violence, our colleague and friend Danielle Green. That's why, friends, that's why this ministry in government will be in the Department of Premier and Cabinet, at the heart of our government and at the centre of our agenda. That's why I toured the state as part of our Labor Cares program, meeting with those affected by family violence and the people who support them. They must be acknowledged. The many organisations and individuals who work so hard. People like Fiona McCormack and Domestic Violence Victoria. And of course, the dedicated men and women of Victoria Police. These people, these Victorians, save lives every day. The Royal Commission will honour their work. The Royal Commission will give us the answers we desperately need. Just a few weeks ago, I visited my old school, and I told the students there the most important thing I've ever learnt. If you have the opportunity, then you have the obligation. We can do more, and we must do more on this important issue. Because once every so often, a genuine crisis erupts in the most powerful way imaginable. When that happens, our obligation to do something becomes overwhelming. Friends, that time has come. I will never forget what happened a few months ago to an 11-year-old boy on a cricket ground. And I'll never forget meeting with his remarkable mum Rosie, and hearing her story. She is the face of courage in this country. When we hear the anguish in one family, we must listen long enough to hear the deafening whisper in thousands more. We hear it, and we are going to do something about it. We're going to do something about it because the time has come to put people first. Thank you very much.